You are not for everyone, but you are for someone. Keep looking for the someone who's going to love what you do, who can help you achieve your dreams. Hi, and welcome to the Creative Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Isolde Trachtenberg. On the show, you'll hear interviews with innovative creative artists, entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders. You'll have a front row seat as they explore their internal, uncharted waters about what inspires them to grow, achieve, and innovate. Get their insights and realizations as I tease out answers to questions they've never pondered before. You'll also learn how to supercharge your innovative drive, mindfulness, and communication skills so you can succeed. This episode is brought to you by my favorite productivity hack, the Brain FM app, this podcast's host, Podbean, as well as my book, Speak From Within, Engage, Inspire, and Motivate Any Audience. Hey there, and welcome to the Creative Solutions Podcast. I'm your host, Isolde Trachtenberg. Thank you for taking the time to listen. I appreciate you being here. I am talking today, this is a bonus episode, talking about theater and talking about my current 100 Rejections Project. Yes, I have embarked on a project to get to accrue to receive 100 rejections for stories and plays and books. Now, I have a story that got into the anthology, The New York State of Crime from Down and Out Books. It's tentatively going to come out on September 16th. And that's exciting. It got in. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I am talking about getting 100 rejections. In other words, you need to submit enough so that even if your stuff gets accepted into, for example, a 10-minute play festival, or into a full-length play festival, or into a story gets into an anthology, or you get accepted for your book to be published, I'm still required to get 100 rejections. So I have to submit enough that even if, let's say, 4 things get accepted through this 100 rejections process, I am still required to keep submitting until I've accrued 100 of them. Wow. And so it's really interesting, actually, because I wrote a 10-minute play. And if you're listening to this and you're going, her voice sounds funny, it's because, yes, I had another allergic reaction because my upstairs neighbors refused to stop smoking pot in their apartment, even though it's a non-smoking building. You've heard me talk about this before, so I don't need to talk about it again. However, I've written a 10-minute play, and it's tentatively titled Subway Stories Drake because of the characters. This is based on a true story, based on something that actually happened to me on the A train, and I'm very excited that it is a 10-minute play. I'm enjoying it. It's a lot of fun, and I read it to my husband, who's a professional entertainer and comedian, and I made him laugh several times, so there you go. So I am using this play as one of the things that I'm going to be submitting to all 10-minute play festivals. And my friend Zare asked the other day, he said, I would love to know where you're submitting. And I went, excellent. I'm glad you'd love to know. Here's what I did. I love AI for this sort of thing, for searching for stuff. Now, I know Google has started an AI thing, so you could probably do Google, but I went to Perplexity, and I'm going to give you the exact question set that I asked so that you can, if you want to generate a list for yourself of writing contests or publishing contests or agents or whatever. I went to perplexity.ai, I think it is, and I said this: generate a list of at least 50 10-minute playwriting contests all over the United States of America for which someone can submit their script for adjudication. Give the deadlines, websites, and any specs or requirements. And it generated a list of 50 different ones, and it gave me the websites and specs and requirements where it could find them. And the thing about Perplexity is that it'll give you the citations. So it doesn't just go, here's a list. Bleh. It'll tell you where it found the things that the answers that it's giving you. And of course, it gave me some whose deadlines, there were a lot of deadlines on July 1st, Wah, wah. I just missed them for 2024. So then I added a follow-up question, which was for any contests whose deadlines have passed, generate a list of the 2025 deadlines and the rest of the information. So it went through all of those and went, oh, based on last year's or this year's 2024 deadline, here's what I think the 2025 deadline will be. And then I developed the whole thing into a database that now I get to look through 53 different 10-minute play writing contests, and I did another one for full-length plays. That'll be my 100 rejections, because not only am I submitting subway stories, I'm also submitting listen to full-length play stories. And if I happen to write poetry or finish one of the musicals over this next year, it's July 1st to July 1st, or actually July 8th through July 8th that I'm doing this. I'm doing it that way, and I'm working my way through submitting to at least 100 different ones. Now, why do that? Why submit to all of these different places? Well, the more you submit to, the more you learn how to submit, which is a big deal, because it's never just your name, your email, and submit. You have to come up with your bio. You have to come up with your synopsis. You have to come up with all your keywords. You have to come up with what cast you might want. I submitted to the Yale Drama Series competition for emerging playwrights that's funded by the David Charles Horn Foundation, and the deadline is sometime in September. I've already submitted. Yay! I submitted listen for that, and I went, okay, let me figure out what I need to do to be able to do that. Now, here's what's interesting about submitting to one of these contests. One of the things it asked for was, I need you to give me the scenes. Now, with listen, it's really all one kind of continuous scene, or it has been in my mind. It takes place in one place for Act 1, and slightly different place. It takes place inside the coffee shop for Act 1, and it takes place right outside the coffee shop for Act 2, and everything happens in real time. But I had to go, okay, is it all one scene, or are there different scenes in here that I haven't really been paying attention to? And when I started thinking about it, I went, okay, let me figure out where they are different, where they are the same, and what are the scenes? Are there places where the way it works, I can break it up into scenes? And it turns out I have 23 scenes in Act 1, because the scenes are very short, and 15 scenes in Act 2, which I didn't realize before. So every single time I submit to a contest, I am improving my show. Now, yes, the earlier I did just submit to the Yale Drama Series competition, which is a big deal, with probably not the best the show can be, because I might submit to something next week that will improve the show even more, but it is the best the show can be right now. And as we know, perfect is the enemy of the good or the good enough. And for right now, this show is good enough. Now, interestingly, as I was submitting to another contest, no, I wasn't submitting to another contest. I was submitting to NPX, which is the new play exchange, or the new playwriting exchange. See, I don't even know exactly what it's called, but it's NPX is the acronym. Anyway, I realized that one of my words that was actually dialogue was mistakenly, erroneously listed as character. So it came out as all caps, and it's formatted like a character, with like a character name instead of like a piece of dialogue. Yikes. So that's in my Yale version. And if the adjudicator nixes me because of that, well, okay, they nixed me because of that. But what's interesting is the word that came out looking like that is the word okay, just okay. So it looks like capital O, capital K. So it looks like the word, and I'm good to go. So the person might not even notice. They might go, oh, weird, but move on. I hope so. But, I noticed this because I was looking at it for something else and went, oh, this is a problem, and I fixed it. And so now the new iteration for the next submissions is much, much better. Isn't that interesting? Like, oh, there are things here that I can keep changing and keep growing. Now, I'm not doing this just to futz with it. That's not what I'm doing at all. I'm doing this because I'm noticing these things, or it says I need the first 20 pages of your script, or the first 15 pages, and I want a line at the bottom of page 15 to be there. And right now it's showing up on the top of it, page 16. Is there anything I can tweak, tighten up to make it work so that when I print out the PDF that it will be on the bottom of page 15 and therefore included in the script. And I'll go back and I'll go, yes, I can tweak this, I can tweak that. And it's making a difference to the play. It's not making it worse. It's making it better. It's improving what I submit. So by the time I'm done with these 100 rejections, this play is going to be top freaking notch. The same goes for Subway Stories, right? Or maybe Subway Story. I don't know. If you have an idea about what I should name this slice of life 10-minute play that takes place in a car in the subway on the A train in New York City, I would love to hear about it. Okay, so these are all things to think about when you're doing this, because writing a play is taking life out of somewhere and putting it into and in front of other people. And I actually was just on a podcast called 5 Random Questions with Danny. Shout out Danny, who's going to be on my show at some point. I was just on the show and I said something that I'm going to remember for the rest of my life. I said, it's okay to stand on the shoulders of giants as long as you thank the giants, right? Credit them, honor them, thank them. That's it. We were talking about Star Wars and the fact that George Lucas went and looked at Kurosawa and studied the works of Joseph Campbell and many others and the hero's journey and blah, blah, blah. He was standing on the shoulders of giants. He just was. Now he created something that's changed the world forever. Star Wars, 1977, May 25th, changed the world forever. We changed how we do movies. So many industries, like the sound industry, the cinematography industry, THX 1138, surround sound, Skywalker sound studios, just everything has been pushed by what Star Wars engendered. But he stood on the shoulders of giants. He didn't do it alone. I write usually based on things I've observed. I take slice of life from somewhere, things I've been part of. Shout out to my friend Zare who went, that thing that you posted on the internet, on Facebook about don't get on the train. You're going to have to see the play to understand what that means. But I posted a video of a bunch of women on the A train, me included, going, don't get on the train. And he said, that would make a great 10-minute play. And I went, you know what? It would. And I wrote the 10-minute play. And so what's interesting about that is I'm going to thank him eventually in the notes for the play. And I can't thank these women because I don't know who they were. We were just random strangers on a subway train. Fun thing happened, and I've written a play about it. But if you take your inspiration from somewhere and it's an idea, or like Lauren Gunderson is doing so beautifully, she's adapting Jane Austen books into plays. She's currently working on Little Women and making that into a play. She's working on Shakespeare all the time. And she and I have had parallel stuff happen in that I wrote a short story called If She Had Lived, Ophelia. What would have happened in Hamlet if Ophelia had survived, and told it from her perspective. So it's a short story, and I've thought about taking that and turning it into a play. And I don't know if it's possible because there's a lot of effects that would have to happen, but Lauren Gunderson has done something similar with Ophelia, I think. So we've thought similarly, like there's so many women in Shakespeare that die. And what if they didn't? What if these women didn't die? Or what if we told things from their perspective? How would it be different? So I'd be standing on the shoulders of giants. I'd be standing on the shoulders of Shakespeare, certainly, and a lot of the other people who told similar stories, Hamlet being a singular play. But you got to thank the people who inspired you to do the work you're doing. And that brings me to a show I saw recently, and that is Stereophonic. Now, it won, even though there's a lot of music in the show, it won for Best Play at the Tonys. And I just recently saw it last week. And as you know, I'm thinking about innovation that I see in theater and talking about it on the show, deconstructing it a little bit. Now, thinking about it, David Ajmi wrote the play, and Will Butler wrote the original songs. Let me think about this for a second, right? This person wrote songs that are original to be in the show, but the difference between from what I understand, as I'm studying all this, a musical and a play with music, is that songs in a musical, by their nature, are designed to carry the plot of the musical forward. They're not just like, I'm breaking into song. They are designed to move the plot forward. I'm thinking right now of Defying Gravity and Wicked, where it's her stance. This is when she finally takes a stand, is that song. And now we know she's not gonna bow her head to anyone. Whereas in Stereophonic, there are songs in the show because the whole show takes place inside a recording studio with a band that's come in to record their next album. And it takes place over a year and a half, but it is designed to show us the inner workings of a band, loosely based, I believe, on Fleetwood Mac recording their multi-cajillion selling album Rumors. I believe that's the album. So there are characters who you could say are Lindsey Buckingham and Mick Fleetwood and Stevie Nicks, etc., etc. And the songs in there are songs they sing because they're recording them, but they're not songs that are designed to carry the plot forward. And so this is a play, not a musical, which I think is fascinating. Okay. What did I think of the show? The show was fascinating. I loved being on the inside. I've been inside recording studios, recording my own albums, and being a guest on other people's albums as a musician or a violinist or a guitarist or whatever. And may I just say, they got that part so right, except for not everybody was sleeping with everybody, right? They're in this show, different people are coupled up, blah, blah, blah. But the tension and the passion and the artistry and the white knuckling it and the something is wrong, but I can't place my finger on it. Stuff is so right on. I thought the set design was brilliant. I thought the music, actually, Will Butler did such a job on the songs. I think the show itself is also really fascinating. I found that they embraced the pause, and I thought that was so interesting. I talk about the pause on the show a lot, taking time to think and to find your response instead of just reacting. And it's interesting because in real time, they would have the characters sort of both stop talking and just stand there and let the tension build in silence. And I went, and somebody did this in a show. This is a play, but we're seeing this in real time, which I found fascinating. And I'm all for embracing the pause, so I'm very excited that it's being used in that way. I thought the moments that they are actually recording in the studio versus us seeing we're seeing it sort of from the back of the room. So we're seeing the board and the engineers sort of looking and the production assistant looking at them. So we see all the knobs, or as they call them, cans, right there. So we're right there. We can see everything as it goes. And we see the band making music, and we see them hearing each other and listening to each other for the most minute changes and sounds and ideas. And it's just brilliant to watch that all happen. But it's also about the very human aspect of all of this. And I appreciated very much that they went so in depth, that David Ajmi went so in depth into what these people were going through as they were trying to make this art. I don't think we explore that enough, what the artist goes through from the inside as they're trying to create. It can take everything from you, and it's fascinating to see, and you have to have such a thick skin in order to be able to withstand some of the trauma and the drama of doing that. It is amazing and incredible to have that be something that happens. It's actually outrageous and deserving of the utmost respect. So the show is only going on Broadway through January, the beginning of January of 2025. If you're around and you can see it, be aware it will affect you. It's a 3-hour long show. So you have to be prepared for that. I enjoyed it. It also made me want to go back into the studio, make music with people I love. So that's really cool. Now I'm inspired to go do that. But it also inspired in me the oomph to write more, to create more, to do more work with songs. Once my voice comes back, I'm going to be getting much more into Twitch again and doing live coaching for singers and sort of giving little lessons while I play music on my guitar. And that'll be really fun. So we'll see what, it might be Facebook Live, it might be Twitch Live, it might be a combination of both. I don't know, but I'm going to be doing something. I'm very excited to see where that goes. Yeah, there's a lot, right? So anyway, yeah, there's a lot that I'm trying to think about as I do this work of being a creative artist in New York City. And I want to give out a shout out before I finish this episode. I want to give a shout out to Vlad and Olga Grinberg, who just had to, a couple of days ago, close their long-standing vegan, organic, amazing restaurant in the West Village called The Organic Grill. They were a beacon and a testament to heart and spirit, and they just had to close it permanently on Tuesday. And it breaks my heart because they tried so hard. But small businesses in New York, especially all vegan businesses in New York right now, have it very tough. And rents are sky high. Rich and I started looking for a place because we might have to move because I can't handle constantly being full of sinus infections because my neighbors won't stop smoking. So we started looking for another place to live. And wow, we'd be paying more for one less bedroom for a place in a very different part of town than we are paying right now. I mean, unbelievable. Wow. And that ain't going to work. So I don't know what we're going to do. I don't know how I'm going to truly come back from this, but I'm going to try because I want to get back into singing. But anyway, to get back to Vlad and Olga, I send you my love and I send you my good wishes and the hope that whatever you do next will be super successful, because running a fully vegan, mostly gluten-free, organic restaurant in New York City, I am so grateful that you did and that you fought the good fight for as long as you did, because wow, it is so challenging. So I thank you and I understand where you're coming from. I wish that I could have helped more, but I wanted to give a shout out to you. And give you my thanks. If you're a fan of the Vegan Writers of New York City, which is a group I started, we had our book release in a New York Minute there at the Organic Grill, and it was a very successful event. And I was hoping and looking forward to doing more. In fact, the Vegan Writers of New York City, this Saturday's meeting was going to be at the Organic Grill, but it will not be now because the place is closed, so we had to move it. But if you're interested in if you're vegan and you're a writer in New York City and you want to write, join the group, feel free to contact me. I will add you to the group and you can be part of it. All right, so back to I know I'm floating around a little bit, but there's a point to all this. The 100 rejections for our 100 books. I have, as I said, already gotten myself... I've already submitted to 2 different things and have, I'm going to keep a list and I'm going to tell you what they are. And probably they're going to be just added little oomphs at the end of episodes so that if you want to keep track of this project, I welcome you. But remember, if you decide to do something like this, it is going to take a thick skin, and I'm trying to thicken my skin so that I already got my first rejection, so that when you get rejections, you don't feel like, I'm talentless, I have no skills. You have to remember, you are not for everyone, but you are for someone, and that is important. It is important to remember that. I'm going to say it again. You are not for everyone, but you are for someone. Keep looking for the someone who's going to love what you do, who can help you achieve your dreams. Alrighty, until next time, this is Isolde Trachtenberg for the Creative Solutions Podcast, reminding you as always to be bold, be creative, and most of all, be kind. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the show if you're new, and it would mean the world to me if you told a friend about it. Today's episode was produced by Isolde Trachtenberg and is copyright 2024. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope.